Caspian, what did I tell you? You can do some reading when you start sharing more. I see you over there. Let me get my coffee. And how did you learn how to turn on the camera? For God's sakes. Come on. Lord, cat gets smarter every day. Morning, everybody. Caspian says good morning, too. Riveting as always. All right, let's get into it. Before I dig into this morning, I want to be straight with you about something because I think it matters. I do not claim to represent any particular 12-step group. I'm not standing here as a spokesperson for a program or an organization. And honestly, I want to be transparent. I'm not even currently a member of AA. What I share here comes from what I've read, what I've lived, and what I've carried with me from people who've shaped my thinking. I'm not here to speak for anybody. I'm just a guy with a cup of coffee and a cat who won't make eye contact, talking about ideas that have saved my life. Word? Okay, with that said, this morning I want to talk about a book. The book is called Alcoholics Anonymous. People just call it the Big Book. It was first published in 1939. Can you imagine? Written by a stockbroker and a surgeon who'd both hit rock bottom and found their way out of it together. Here's the part that gets me. The book has gone on to sell tens of millions of copies. It's been translated into dozens and dozens of languages. From Icelandic to Farsi to Zulu, it sat on the Library of Congress's list of the books that shaped America, for God's sakes. A book written by two guys who were not professional writers. They weren't theologians. Theologians? They weren't trying to build an empire. They were just trying to stay sober one more day and help the next guy do the same thing. And somehow it became one of the most quietly influential pieces of writing of the last 100 years. How cool is that? Caspian, I gotta be honest, that kind of staying power is rare, buddy. You should learn from it. You know, I read somewhere once if you put 12 monkeys in a room for a few thousand years banging away, eventually they'd produce something that rivals Shakespeare. Random chance, enough time, infinite typewriters, whatever. And I think about that next to these two guys in this book that came up with. Two ordinary, flawed, hungover guys sit down, write something honest about their own brokenness, and it ends up changing millions of lives across a century and every continent on Earth. What's your point, Chris? My point, Caspian, I don't think that's random. I think that's something else working through people. And here's where I land every time I try to get intellectual about this stuff. I am ill-equipped about this stuff. I'm ill-equipped to fully understand an all-powerful creative intelligence. Let's be honest, we're about 2 clicks smarter than a dolphin. That's the whole species. That's us at our best. We still can't figure out how to feed us. So when I catch myself trying to debate the universe in a tidy philosophical box, I try to remember, keep it simple, folks. That's not being anti-intellectual. It's me being honest about the size of my own head compared to the size of whatever this thing is that we call life. Shout out to Prince. There's a line in that book on page 12 that I keep coming back to. A man is wrestling with the whole idea of life, with the whole idea of God, rather. He resists it, resents it even, until a friend asks him one simple question. This was revolutionary, folks. Why don't you choose your own conception of God? Ebby tells Bill. And he writes that it melted something in him. He says, It was only a matter of being willing to believe in a power greater than myself. Nothing more was required of me to make my beginning. That's it. Not certainty, not theology, not having it all figured out, willingness. So I got another line I remember quite often. And it goes, God could and would if he were sought. Not if he were found, if he were sought. You ever find God, let me know, okay? I'm interested. I want to talk to him. First time I heard that, I was hungover and I thought I heard God could and would if he wore socks. I'm like, what? The hell does socks have to do with anything? It's a joke, folks. Keep up. So just for today, I don't have to understand the whole universe. I just have to be willing to believe there's something bigger than my own head running the show. Just for today, I'll choose my own conception of it and let that be enough to start. That's the show. Say goodbye, Caspian. Perfect. See you tomorrow. Maybe.